Outside condenser fan turning backwards intermittent when AC starts. Pic of data plate included. Pic of 2 capacitors used with unit included. What would be most likely cause?
Hello, my name is I am a licensed HVAC tech and I'm sorry to hear about your condenser fan problem. I'm here to help with your question and will do all I can to provide the best answer possible. I'll return shortly with more information. Requests for a phone call are generated by the site, not me, so please disregard them. Condenser fans that run in reverse intermittently can be caused by a couple of things. One is wind blowing through the unit causing the fan to spin backwards, and upon startup of the condensing unit the motor cannot overcome the backwards motion and powers up running the wrong way. The other reason is that the motor has lost some of its starting torque. This can be related to the motor windings itself, or you could be experiencing a problem with the capacitor. First, a few things about the capacitor photos you sent. The one that is black with tape across the terminals and says kickstart is actually a universal start capacitor for the compressor. Universal because, as stated on the label, this capacitor can be used on 3.5 to 5 horsepower motors. They are more commonly referred to as a hard start kit and contain the start capacitor and a start relay. These are not standard items that come with the condensing unit and are added when compressors struggle to start up. The second photo is a run capacitor, and these are used for both the compressor and the condenser fan motor. Looking at the rating for the one in the photo, I can tell that this is not the one for the fan motor. I say that because the microfarad, MFD, rating is 45, which is too large for the average condenser fan motor. More often those are 5 or 10 MFD, and in fact I've just looked up a 1/6 HP motor on a supplier's website and the capacitor it uses is 5 MFD. What can you do? I recommend replacing the capacitor first since they are cheap. You can easily replace the one for the fan motor, and if the capacitor is the issue the problem will go away, and if it does not it's the motor. If you choose to replace the capacitor, you must find the capacitor for the fan motor. Often the fan motor capacitor will be mounted right on the motor and is held in place with a strap that screws onto the motor housing. Sometimes techs will replace them and hang them from a nearby motor support post using wire ties to keep it in place. Should replacing the capacitor make no difference and the motor still starts up backwards on occasion, there is no sense in replacing the motor that otherwise is fine when you can employ a device that prevents the blade from turning backwards under any circumstances. I'd have to locate it since a quick search brought up nothing. If you need help with wiring the capacitor or getting the replacement, must be exactly like the old one with very little room for variance, let me know. Also, if you want me to run down the device I mentioned that prevents the motor from running backwards. Be advised the fan blade must come off to put this device on, and I've no idea what your mechanical abilities are. Please know that you can follow up for next 10 days at no additional charge. Thank you for the opportunity to help you. Here is a photo of a condenser fan motor with the run cap attached to the motor, and yours may look like this. Also a screenshot of the anti-windmill device.
On cap 1 pic it states 45 plus 5 oof.
Yes, I saw that, however that is a very high MFD rating for a condenser fan motor. Not saying it can't be the one, but that would mean the condenser fan would have a very large HP. Only you can confirm this because you are there in front of the equipment.
No wind blowing during fault and no fault condition.
Not uncommon to rule out the wind, however I have seen this, and the cure was the anti-windmill device I sent a photo of. Not sure what you mean by no fault condition.
I have new caps just like the ones in the unit. Which one should I replace and try?
As previously stated, the black one that says Kickstarter is not for the fan motor. If you are 100% certain that the 45 MDF cap is for the fan motor, that would be the one to replace.
No fault condition means fan turning correct. I'm standing at the condenser unit and no external wind blowing. I will trace the wires to be certain.
As stated, it would be a strong wind. A breeze usually won't cause the problem. Good idea to trace the wires. You can look at the diagram as well, which will reveal the colors, assuming you know how to read one.
Diagram picture from the unit.
Best stop right there. In the diagram, this unit has a dual capacitor. That is, it serves the compressor and condenser fan motor. Look at the top for the one in the photo you sent and see if it has 3 terminals, and they would be marked HERM, fan and common, or something like that. You will need this type capacitor to replace the one for the fan. Is that what you have as a replacement? I'm going to have to jump off here shortly, so I cannot respond as quickly as recently. I will get a notice when you post and will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Please let me know how you are making out and if you have the correct capacitor.
Pics of new caps. At the time I did not take pic of the top of caps installed, but the new ones are like the installed ones.
The dual cap is 10 MFD less than the one in the first photo, 45 MFD versus 35, and using that one will cause problems. Rules for capacitors are that you can vary the voltage 10% plus / but not the MFD. For start capacitors, the MFD can be higher but not lower. Higher MFD can cause the start winding to burn out and will damage the relay contacts. For run caps, the MFD rating must be the same as what you are replacing. Actually, I just brushed up and you can be within 10% plus / of the MFD rating for the original. So if the original was 45 MFD, minus 10% equals 41.5 MFD, so the 35 MFD is too small. Okay, must run now. I'll keep checking in.
Where can I get a 45 UF cap?
Johnston Supply, United Refrigeration, W. Grainger, to name a few. Any major HVAC supply house will have them. I suggest you bring in the old one to be certain you get the exact replacement. Where did you get the 35 MFD? Take it back to them and exchange it if you can. Must go, wife yelling now. Smile.
Ordered from W. Grainger.
Okay, once you receive and install, let me know how you make out. A word of caution for the wiring. Double check your connections because you don't want to send the wrong MFD to either motor. The color code is on the diagram, but if you're not sure, let me know.
The 45 plus 5 cap will be here later today.
Great. Keep me posted.
New cap did not stop fan from turning wrong rotation. What next? Also, what is this connector all about? 2 yellow wires, 2 blocks wires, and secure to fan. Great. Wires go to fan. See pic.
I'm at lunch right now and have a job to do after, so I will respond at length later today.
Okay. On the unit, there are 3 wires going to the fan. Brown/white, brown, black. With all three wires disconnected, brown/white to brown shows open circuit ohms. Brown/white to black shows 23.6 ohms. Brown to black shows open circuit ohms. I guess bad motor.
Unfortunately, your photo did not show enough for me to decide what the additional wires are for. Your description of the wire colors and the ohm readings are meaningless without knowing more about the motor. An educated guess is that the motor is multi-speed and the additional wires are the speeds that are not being used. If that is the case, the motor is not the original. I say that because most OEM, original equipment manufacturer, condenser fan motors are not multi-speed. Often techs will carry multi-speed motors versus individual speed to keep the inventory down on the trucks and meet the needs of many different brands. Now back to the motor going backwards. If it did that from a dead standstill, there is nothing more you can do short of replacing it. The anti-windmill device I included a photo of above is only for blades that tend to spin backwards due to wind. That, or it is one of two fans and one may be off for head pressure control while the other runs. In that situation, the motor that is not running will freewheel backwards and upon startup will run backwards. That and the lack of wind in your case does not call for the anti-windmill device unless you know different. So unfortunately you will need to replace the motor. As specified on the nomenclature tag, it is a 1/6 of a horsepower, 208 230ths of a volt, single phase. But you will need more info than that. You also need the rotation, specified from the lead or shaft end, the frame size. 56 is a common one for condenser fan motors but not a standard, mount type, belly band, face or cradle, and shaft size. 1/2 inch and 5/ are common sizes in smaller motors. The rotation is critical, however most motors today are reversible through an external wire connection. That is, there are 4 wires protruding from the body that you swap with each other for proper rotation. They are connected with spade connectors, so it's just unplug and replug. If you have any doubts about your motor and selecting a replacement, I suggest removing it and taking it with you. Best bet is an HVAC supplier versus Grainger. At the HVAC supplier, the counter people will help you with to ensure you get the right motor. At Grainger, they will toss you a catalog and tell you to pick one out. Rarely have I seen someone at Grainger help with motor selections. Trouble with selecting your own is that there are tons to choose from, and something I learned years ago, Grainger's HP motors are rated on the low end of what qualifies the motor for that HP rating. So, for example, a 3/4 of a horsepower is just barely that. Where a Fasco or Regal Beloit rated 3/4 of a horsepower will be exactly that. Good luck, and sorry it took this approach to decide that the motor needs replacement. I saw a typo after I hit send. The motor shaft sizes are 1/2 and 5/8 inch. Also, I was referring to Grainger's Dayton brand of motors that have the low ratings.
Power good, cap good. All that's left is motor.
You are correct. Since you have a Goodman piece of equipment, Johnston Supply, a nationwide vendor, carries Goodman. They can fix you up with the correct motor. I would even have your model number and serial number with you just in case you need it, but I doubt it.
For a tip, will M21 motor picture replace M11 motor picture?
Yes, if it mounts the same way. The rotation is correct. You're comfortable with putting in what appears to be a used motor.
A friend nearby has condensers in a shed. Got to test run before complete install. It will fit on top.
If that works for you, it works for me.
It works and turning correct.
Well, that's a good sign.
Mounted and all good.
Glad to hear.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/YTHI.